He's a current Tea Party leader, and he's going to tell us the political side of what happens when you have a political judge.
Jordan, thank you very much. Thanks to Lisa, thanks to all of you for coming out on this hugely important issue. More than anything else today, I am here to convey on behalf of 30 million Americans in this Tea Party movement that we have grave reservations about this nomination and urge the Senate of the United States to defeat it. The Tea Party movement is going to be monitoring this vote closely, and we are going to be taking it into consideration as a major factor in determining what senators we do and do not support in 2010 and in future elections. Let me start by saying, as a conservative, that we have very grave concerns about extending the Senate's power to defeat nominations. By and large, the Senate advice and consent component is designed to weed out only the most egregious candidates for this court. We believe we have such a candidate here who will undermine the Constitution of the United States and has reflected her ability and willingness and ideological inclination to do that many times. She is an absolutely unqualified nominee. She has never adjudicated a parking ticket. She has never served as a judge in any civil, federal, or other court in this country. That is not an accident. That is the way this administration is doing business, putting up their far-left ideologues with the sole intention of not allowing the Congress of the United States to be able to dissect a proper judicial professional career. We retained an executive search firm right now to find the next Supreme Court judge. I think we can all safely say Elena Kagan would not be in the top 100 candidates that would be brought to the President and to the Senate. So why was she nominated? Two reasons. One, her lack of experience, which conceals the fact that she is a far-left progressive with an activist inclination for the bench. And second, she is, first and foremost, an ideological comrade of this administration seeking to undermine the Constitution of the United States and the fundamental liberties that are appreciated, valued, and have been fought for by generation after generation of Americans. What's the evidence of it? At Harvard, this is not insignificant. This woman's decision to keep the ROTC and military recruiters off of the Harvard campus was not merely an anti-military decision as it's being depicted. We would afford her the luxury of holding that view even if it's not one that we hold. It was an absolute violation of the Solomon Amendment, which required and permitted those military recruiters to have a presence on that campus. When she made the decision, as she did, to put her ideological opposition to don't ask, don't tell above the federal law of this land, that is the very definition of judicial activism and the temperament thereof that we need to keep off of this court, and a very ominous inclination of where this woman is headed. Second, she's been a proponent, as has been mentioned, of vast expansions in the federal government that are far beyond anything that our founders ever responded. Outrageously, as was said, when Senator Coburn asked her that question yesterday about whether or not the court of the Constitution would permit the legislative mandate of requirement of vegetables per day, to sit there and stumble on that fundamental question is something you would not expect from a high school student who's had the most minimal exposure to the Constitution of the United States. It's astonishing and it's unacceptable to put such a woman on the court of this country. She said, and she's been quoted as saying, even though it's been mentioned there hasn't been much in the way of documentation of her record, that the Constitution is, quote, meant to be interpreted over time, end quote. No, ma'am, that is not what the founders intended. It is a document that stands on its own ground and with its own words and has clear ramification as the foundation of the rule of law in this country. Finally, let me mention the Citizens United versus FEC case, which is SG she championed here. No doubt about it, that case, whatever you feel about the role of money in American politics, and I know many of us have grave reservations, The issue of freedom of speech is core to the freedoms of this country, and the arguments that she presented, even when knowing that that case was going down to defeat, was an absolute indication of her placing her far-left political ideology above the Constitution of the United States. Let me say, on behalf of the Tea Party movement, we're very pleased with Senator Sessions, very pleased with Senator Coburn, and others who are properly asking the questions that need to be asked in this confirmation hearing. And let me say, this is not over. This is not over. It is a mistake to take away the message that this vote is a foregone conclusion. It is not. The American people have concerns. Members of Congress have concerns. Many of you are here because you have concerns. And our message is that this nomination is a hugely important vote by this Senate. The Tea Party movement and the American people will be watching it closely, holding the Senate of the United States accountable, and we fully expect them to defeat this nomination. Thank you very much.